Here are the 5 ways you can get started implementing a dividend policy. Number 5 is the best one. A very important thing to bear in mind prior to rolling out any sort of dividend policy is to make sure you have complete alignment across all shareholders. At the end of the day, people are in business for different reasons, and you don't want to be in a situation where somebody believes in investing in the future of the company while you have others that are very much focused on the quick fix, the quick return, the quick buck. You want to make sure that everybody is completely aligned with what the strategy is for the business prior to rolling out any dividend policy. Once you as shareholders agree to implement a dividend policy, then the big question is, how do you go about it? The first and simplest option is what we call the fixed payout ratio. So that's where we take a fixed percentage of the operating profit and pay that out to the shareholders according to their shareholding. So that could be every month, every quarter, maybe every year. You take a percentage, maybe say 20-30% of operating profit, and pay that out accordingly. If your business is a bit more complex, perhaps a little bit more volatile, so for example you could make a profit one month followed by a loss the next, and that's the nature of your business, we'd recommend using option 2, which is what we call a rolling ratio. Now the rolling ratio is where we just take the aggregate of several periods and pay out the dividend accordingly based on a profit pool method. So what I mean by that is you might make a profit one month of say $100,000, followed by a loss of $50,000 the following month, followed by a profit the next month of say a further $50,000. So what we're looking at there is taking your share of the dividend that would have been owing to you, pooling that so that you're not physically absorbing the loss, and then on a regular basis paying out the balance of that pool from within the business. If you have the benefit of a very cash positive business, you might want to consider option 3, which we call the cash sweep method. So this is where you decide on a number that your business needs to continue to fund future growth in the business as well as carry on business as usual. And whatever is over and above that number, on a regular basis you pay out as a dividend. So for example, that number for you may be $500,000. If you get to the end of the quarter or the end of the month, and there's $550,000 in there, you pay out the $50,000 as a dividend to the shareholders. If you're on a value building journey where you wish to sell your business, you may want to consider option 4, which is a business value method. So this is very good for driving activities amongst the shareholding and executive team if you're wanting to purely focusing on the activities that are going to drive the value of the business. And how this works is a commercial valuation is done on the business, and then sometime later another commercial valuation is done on the business using the same methodology, and a dividend is then paid based on the uplift in business value. For example, you might get a commercial valuation done on your business and it's worth $10 million. 12 months later, you get a commercial valuation done on your business and it's now worth $12 million. And you might then decide, okay, we can pay out 50% of the uplift in value as a dividend, therefore the shareholders are directly rewarded for how they've uplifted the value of the business. Option 5 is our custom formula, and it's the best option if you're wanting to get started with the dividend policy today. So what we do is we take the operating profit for a given period, and then we look at any movement in working capital. We also look at any strategic reinvestment into the business, so what the business needs to continue to grow, cash requirements around tax and also debt repayment, and we also look at factoring in any liabilities for tax. That leaves us with a number that we can confidently pay out of a business to shareholders, knowing that they can be directly rewarded for the efforts they've put in without putting the business at any risk of being able to fulfill its strategic objectives. If you're using a custom formula like this, what you'll notice is that over time, the amount that you're paying out as a percentage of operating profit will be very, very similar. The benefit here is that once you've identified this as a trend, you can then use the fixed payout ratio method. At the end of the day, a dividend policy is something every business should have. As your business, as your money, you've earned it, and you should have a way of accessing it. It's something we help a lot of businesses to do, so feel free to reach out if you need a hand.